Hi guys, JT here, and today I'm bringing you some information on 20 games in Fanatical's HandyGames Anniversary Bundle of April 2023 to help you in picking your 15 games. This is the second part of the video and you can watch the first part here. If you'd like to know more about game bundles, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel out. Anyway, let's get into this. At number 11 we have Nexus, the Jupiter Incident. A space strategy game where you're tasked with leading your fleet to victory in an interstellar conflict involving alien races and sentient machines. The game provides a mission and a set fleet of ships to complete it. It's a brutal, uncompromising experience that frequently forces you to think outside the box to win. The problem is that it perhaps expects you to think too far outside the box at times. The game is hard, but it feels as though it was born less from powerful enemies as it did from the developer expecting the player to figure out specific solutions to problems that were otherwise unsolvable. The game frequently left the player feeling like they had no options. It was less like a game of strategy and more like a puzzle, where the player was stuck cramming random pieces together until they finally assembled something resembling the strategy the developers put in place to let them win. The combat, especially in the game's best moments, is engaging and layered. The game looks great. It has some really cool ship designs. The story is decently written and interesting enough to care about. However, the ship movement and combat is a tad on the slow side and can be frustrating and time-consuming. At number 12 we have Giana's Sisters, Twisted Dreams, Rise of the Owlverlord. A platforming game and sequel to the popular game Giana's Sisters, Twisted Dreams. This game offers all the same platforming excellence as the original, but in a smaller, more accessible package. In this game you play as two sisters, each navigating their own dream world. The punk rock sister bounces off owls in a friendly meadow, while the cute sister must dodge demons in a dark and dreary forest. You can swap between the sisters and their worlds at any time with the tap of a button. The game features physical differences between the worlds, so you'll need to swap between them to progress. You'll also need to collect colored gems, which can only be collected by the sister whose color matches the gem. The sisters themselves have different abilities, with the cute sister able to twirl slowly down from a jump, and the punk sister featuring a dash attack. Rise of the Owlverlord offers both a hard and normal difficulty setting, as well as time attack and score attack modes. While the game is relatively short with only 6 levels and a boss fight, it's well worth it. Overall, Giana's Sisters, Twisted Dreams, Rise of the Owlverlord is an excellent platformer that's fun to play with tight controls and great level design. At number 13 we have Overclocked, A History of Violence. A third-person point-and-click adventure game where you play as David McNamara, a forensic psychiatrist investigating the cases of 5 young adults who were found carrying guns and with no memory of how they got there. David is also dealing with his own personal demons, and as the game progresses, he must confront them as well. The game uses a simple system for exploring and interacting with objects or people, with the mouse cursor changing when something can be interacted with. The attention to detail in the environment is impressive, and the stormy weather is particularly realistic, with reflections and mirrored surfaces adding to the atmosphere. The animations could have been improved, but the cinematic cutscenes are well constructed, adding to the immersion of the game. Triggering memories is an important part of the game, and once accessed, the screen blurs, splits in two, and focuses entirely on the patient. The memories occur only in small fragments, and they work backwards chronologically, adding to the intrigue of the story. While the gameplay is linear, it adds to the complexity of the story and keeps you guessing as to the patient's motivations and how they fit into the overall plot. Overall, Overclocked is a fascinating title for those who enjoy a good story. At number 14 we have World of Zoo, a game that allows players to take care of virtual animals in a zoo-like setting. Players get to feed the animals, clean them, play with them, and take care of them when they're ill. The game is designed for younger children and is easy to navigate since it is completely mouse-driven. Players can unlock new items, new animals, and new exhibits by generating tokens by completing challenges or showing attention to the animals. The game is considered a casual game since there is no way to fail it, and players can only earn tokens by taking care of the animals. World of Zoo is also family-friendly since there are no adult themes or violence. The game is visually appealing and runs smoothly. World of Zoo has several positive aspects. It is great fun for preschoolers, and the game allows players to customize their animals. It is casual and family-friendly, and older children and adults can appreciate the interesting facts provided by National Geographic. However, the game has several drawbacks, such as not being particularly appealing to adults. Lumping several species of animals together in the same exhibit results in identical sound effects, a lack of variety in animals, and an overabundance of toys. At number 15 we have Airline Tycoon Deluxe, a fun and addictive game that will keep you entertained for hours. In this cartoony-like game, you get to manage your own airline, develop it, and buy out your competitors. The game has several modes with different objectives, such as being the first airline to transport a certain number of passengers, or developing your airline and buying out all 3 of your competitors. You start with a budget of $500,000 and 2 aircraft already purchased. Your next step is to secure the best orders for your aircraft before your competitors do. To develop your airline, you may build branches on other airports around the world and collaborate with a competitor airline to secure an edge over other airlines. You can also buy cheap used aircraft with high maintenance costs or really expensive new aircraft and upgrade them in your office with luxurious seats, entertainment stuff, as well as improving the cockpit and emergency equipment. Additionally, you can design your own aircraft from scratch in the shop. The game has its flaws though, such as the AI, which can be too easy to beat. There are also things that could have been added to make the game more realistic, such as news that would influence the amount of passengers traveling from one airport to another, or events that will force you to close your branch in another country, like COVID. Despite its flaws, the game provides you with countless hours of fun and entertainment, and you'll find it hard to put down. So get ready to manage your airline and become the best in the business. And number 16, we have SkyDrift, an arcade flight racing game that features unique aircraft designs with different stats, providing a welcome challenge when choosing the right plane for each track and game mode. The game offers 6 different locations to race in, each with its own unique twists, turns, and environmental hazards. SkyDrift features 3 game modes, including Power Race, Speed Race, and Survivor mode, with the latter being a favorite as it mixes power-ups with a repeating countdown cycle, eliminating whoever sits in the last place when the clock strikes 0. However, the game's best mode is reserved for the final level of the single-player game, where all 3 modes are combined into one crazy awesome race full of power-ups, speed hoops, and elimination. However, it's difficult to find opponents online, which is especially frustrating since there's no way to create a custom race against the AI. It's also worth noting that the controls are disorientating, and it's challenging enough to find pilots to fill a game. Despite these issues, SkyDrift is a well-produced budget racing game that provides a sufficient amount of tracks and gameplay for players looking for an arcade racing game with a Mario Kart-like feel in the skies. However, if you're already picking SkyDrift Infinity, I don't see the point in picking this one. It's just in there because it's positive. And number 17, we have Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams, a platform adventure game. You play as Giana, a teenager who is trapped in a dream with her sister Maria and must save her while escaping. The game features a dream change mechanic, where Giana can switch between her nightmare and cute dream modes by pressing a button. Depending on which mode she's in, Giana's persona changes, and she gains different abilities. For example, in a cute dream, Giana can twirl and glide, while in the twisted nightmare she has a fire dash and is more aggressive. Switching between these modes is crucial as the obstacles and routes vary in each mode. The game features puzzles and boss battles, and the difficulty level increases as you progress. There are also several new modes that can be unlocked, such as Time Attack, Hardcore and Uber Hardcore, and the Gallery mode. The game has a great soundtrack, with dynamic and interactive music by Chris Hulsbeck and the band Machinai Supremacy. The graphics are visually stunning, and the dream twist mechanic adds to the game's appeal. The game is challenging, but players can go at their own pace with it and enjoy the journey. And number 18, we have Bang Bang Racing, a classic racing game. The game takes inspiration from Micro Machines, but without the weapons and gimmicks that were added later in that series. Instead, you'll focus purely on racing, using your driving skills and nitro boosters to win races. The game starts off slow, but quickly becomes hectic, with AI opponents nipping at your heels every step of the way. There are no items to slow down other racers, but there are barrels on the tracks that can release oil or water, making certain corners very tricky to navigate. The use of boost is also important, as it can mean the difference between second and first place. The game has great track design, and plenty of tracks and championships to play through. You can also compete for online leaderboard positions and earn achievements. However, the lack of online multiplayer is a downside, as the game only supports local multiplayer. You'll need a couple of controllers and friends who are willing to sit around your PC to enjoy multiplayer races. Overall, if you're looking for a single-player racing experience or don't mind local multiplayer, Bang Bang Racing is a great choice. The game plays, feels, and looks fantastic, and it offers a real challenge without relying on gimmicks nor weapons. And number 19, we have Stunt Kite Party, a high-flying party game that caters for up to 4 players locally and also contains a single-player campaign. Stunt Kite Party offers a lot of fun and variation to keep things interesting in both single-player and multiplayer modes. The control scheme is very accessible, with the left thumbstick controlling the rotations of your kite, while pressing the A button grants you a speed boost. The mainstay of the game's replayability revolves around playing a series of points-based games. Achieve the highest score and beat your opponent and you can move on to the next level, or chapter of the story. The game offers a total of 10 different game modes, and all of which can be experienced in a single-player campaign from Alien Attack to Meteor Blast, all of which offer a variation on the theme of flying a stunt kite. There's a lot of fun that can be had in a single player experience with its vibrant charm and addictive gameplay. However, the real fun lies in the local multiplayer aspect of the game, producing some thrilling and hilarious results. With a series of predefined cup tournaments, plus the ability to create your own custom competitions, there's a wealth of options here to guarantee a good family night in. The game does a clever job of moving the screen around in the pan and zoom mechanic, but it's one that works really effectively and never feels as if it's fighting against you and your fellow competitors. And number 20 we have Kill to Collect, an action-adventure game. The game drops you into a cyberpunk dystopia where you take on waves of cybernetic enemies as one of the 4 characters with unique abilities. The movement and combat feel responsive and competent, and the variety of projectile weapons and upgrades allow you to play exactly how you want to. However, the game's story mode is predictable and repetitive, and acts mainly as an extended tutorial for the rest of the game. The challenge modes, on the other hand, are likely to be the biggest draw for hardcore players. However, the random nature of this mode can be frustrating, especially when some of the combinations of modifiers seem downright impossible. Once you get the short end of the stick in the challenge mode a few times, you might be tempted to throw your keyboard at the screen and move on to other things. The lack of variety is a key failure in what could have been a great game that was worth replaying over and over. After the first few story levels, you will have seen all of the possible upgrades, items, and room layouts. There are a handful of new enemy types that will reveal themselves as you progress through the levels, but they're just palette swaps of enemies from the early levels with slightly different abilities. The game's style is also threadbare, lacking a fun or unique personality to keep players coming back. Overall, while Kill to Collect has the skeletons of a great action roguelike, it lacks the variety and substance to stand out from the crowd. And that's all for this bundle. This bundle does have a lot of games that are very mediocre, but hopefully with some information provided in this 2-part video, you may have found a few games that may be worth your time. Anyway, if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do so in the description below. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.